Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, fast, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva.
Did you hear what I said? It's snowing outside, and that may deter people from coming. Huh? You're expecting a lot of people. Can you make the snow stop? Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyapadi Paschachade Satarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Is this your home? Yeah, I thought so. You're like a king sitting up there on a big throne. You look right at home. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. What's your name? Rishikesh. King Rishikesh. Rishikesh? Yeah. Nice to meet you. Do you know who is Jiva Goswami? We're going to speak about Jiva Goswami today. Jiva Goswami, he is one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. And the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, for those of you that may not be so familiar, they're intimate associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who resided in Vrindavan at his request, and they associated together, as you see in this nice painting, and their happiness was topics of Krishna, specifically the topics of Krishna in Vrindavan, but the Srimad Bhagavatam discusses all kinds of topics of Krishna in Vrindavan, in Mathura, in Dwaraka, and visiting Kurukshetra, and visiting Mahavishnu in the spiritual sky, and doing lots of nice things. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And not only they discussed topics about Krishna, but they went deeply into those topics and left behind volumes of literature and many other nice things, including, we're going to see, some of them left deities behind for us to worship. So this is the disappearance day of Jiva Goswami. You can see from the math how old he was when he departed this world. He lived a long life. He was the son of one of the 3 brothers. Sanatana Goswami was the elder brother. Rupa Goswami was the middle brother. And Jiva Goswami's father was the 3rd brother, Anupam. And his father died when he was still very young, when he was still doing his studies in Benares. And his activities when he was very young, it's a really nice description of his life. He loved Krishna and Balaram like anything. He had deities that he treated like they were dolls. I mean, he held them to his chest and he went to sleep with them, and everything was Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram. from childhood. There's a description in Bhakti Ratnakar. Bhakti Ratnakar is a biography, like Chaitanya Charitamrita is a biography about Lord Chaitanya. Bhakti Ratnakar is a biography of personality, it's a history of persons who came after Lord Chaitanya and associates of those persons who came after Lord Chaitanya. And there was a nice description of Jiva Goswami when he was very young. He had such affinity for Krishna Balaram that they appeared to him in a dream. And there's a nice description in Bhakti Ratnakar what he saw, the form of Krishna, the form of Balaram, the attire of both, and their ornaments, and they looked very happy, and they were smiling at him, and suddenly his dream broke and they disappeared, and he woke up. He was ecstatic and then very sad, so when he went back to sleep, they appeared again. And when they appeared again, they transformed themselves into Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, and were dancing in ecstasy, and they transformed themselves back into Krishna Balaram, and the dream broke. So he was already getting very clear indicators of what his future would be as a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. Here's some deities that he worshipped when he was young, deities of Krishna Balaram. And when he was around 8 or 10 years of age, doesn't say specifically, around that time, his father died. There's some details, but when his father died, he became very, very distressed. Because like his two uncles, Rupa and Sanatan, they were very close to their brother Anupam, and they were great devotees of Krishna, as was their son, Jiva. So he was feeling great separation. And he wanted very much to have Lord Chaitanya's association. And so he went to Navadvip with the idea that he would, because he heard from his two uncles and from his father about Lord Chaitanya. He heard about his pastimes in Navadvip. So at that time, Navadvip was not what Navadvip looks like built up today. It was just basically stretches of agricultural field, coconut trees and palm trees and Ganga and, forested area and agricultural land. And when he went there, Lord Nityananda, of all people, came all the way from his residence. His residence was in Kardaha, north of Mayapur, and he met him. He knew he was going there, and he met him. And in fact, he was received by Lord Nityananda. I knew you were coming. I came here specifically just to meet you. And the little boy, 8 to 10 years old little boy, wanted to see the places of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. So Lord Nityananda took him on a parikram, a little guided tour of those places. And all throughout Navadvip, he showed him the places of pastimes. And as this painting shows, it's described, he also showed him this magnificent, humongous temple. Now, that humongous temple has become the temple of Vedic Planetarium. And Lord Nityananda he, Lord Nityananda, is one who gives one shelter of Lord Chaitanya. Or Guru is one who gives one shelter of Krishna. So he, Nityananda, gave instructions to him and saying, don't go visit Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Puri. Lord Chaitanya wants you to go to Vrindavan and assist your uncles. He has given Vraja to them as their home, so you should go and be with them and be under their care. So Rupa and Sanatan were his two uncles. But before going to be with them, you should go first to study Sanskrit under Madhusudana Vachaspati. Who's Madhusudana Vachaspati? You've heard his name before? Madhusudana Vachaspati was a disciple of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Who's Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya? He is the chief priest of the king in Puri, and he, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, had become a devotee, although prior to meeting Lord Chaitanya, he was a grahastha giving teachings to thousands of sannyasi disciples. He was a vastly learned Bhattacharya. But now he became a great Vaishnava, and he, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, had a disciple named Madhusudana. So he, the Guru, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, sent his vastly learned disciple to all places to Benares. Now he was like, I don't want to go to Benares, there's no Vaishnavas there. But he wanted him to go to Benares because there was some future service. He would become the teacher, among other things, he'd become the teacher of Jiva Goswami. So he went and studied under Madhusudana Vachaspati for around 10 years. This is an old painting of Benares. And while he was studying under Madhusudana Vachaspati, that's when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left the world. So he was crestfallen. And while he was there, he wrote a book. It's kind of the character of great acharyas, as we heard a little bit from other acharyas, like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He wrote 3 commentaries when he was 16. Here's Sarva Sambhadani, but Sarva Sambhadani, later he would write the Sandarbhas. Later Jiva Goswami would write the Sat Sandarbhas, the 6 Sandarbhas. So those of you that are newer, you don't know what all of this is. But the Sandarbhas is a major literary work. It's a commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam according to topics. And one of the things Jiva Goswami said, I didn't want to write a commentary or an exposition on Brahman because there's already so many things written about Brahman. So Paramatma Sandarbha, Bhakti Sandarbha, Krishna Sandarbha, Priti Sandarbha, Tattva Sandarbha. So he wrote a number of writings explaining the length and breadth of Srimad Bhagavatam's message. And this Sarva Sambhadani, in his mind, he was composing this literature. Later he got a manuscript from Gopal Bhatta Goswami, which was the main manuscript that he used, and then added what he added. But even before he got there, when he's 20 years old, he wrote a supplemental text on the topic. It's kind of like a commentary of a book that he hadn't actually written yet, but he had this capacity that he could write in his mind. And then he would just think it. He didn't have a computer or any technology, that later he would write it. We'll see shortly his handwriting. very delicate handwriting. So he was already, as he was a young man, before he made it to Vrindavan, he was a celebrated scholar, and rightly so, because he was so amazingly capable. It said he wrote in his books 400,000 verses. That's a lot of verses. So he went to Vrindavan after he completed his Sanskrit studies, and as was told to him by Lord Nityananda, that Lord Chaitanya wanted him to be trained and take shelter and assist Rupa and Sanatan, so he did that. And they first, when they received him, because an assignment given to them by Lord Chaitanya was write books on the science of devotional service and restore the places of Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, because they had been lost. So they took him to the places of Krishna's pastimes, the ones that they had established, and then he did, Jiva Goswami, the nephew, because the younger brother was his father, so he treated them like his his father's brother. So he just did menial service, preparing the paper that they would write their books on, and just do menial services, anything and everything. In course of time, Rupa Goswami accepted Jiva Goswami as his Diksha disciple. And as you may know, there was only one disciple. Rupa Goswami wrote many, many books, but he had one disciple. And that one disciple was Jiva Goswami. So now we have 3 of the 6 Goswamis, 2 uncles and one nephew, all from the same family. There's in Bhakti Ratnakar, there's mentioned, it's confirmed elsewhere, confirmed. Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote extensively, and in his writings, he describes a visit that Vallabhacharya made to Vrindavan. Now, many of you may know Vallabhacharya. Our young man over here, any of you know who is Vallabhacharya? Does that name mean anything to you? No. Okay. Vallabhacharya. Vallabhacharya was a contemporary of the Goswamis, and he was a leading proponent of the Vishnu Swami Sampradaya. Vishnu Swami Sampradaya. Many nice things about the Vishnu Swami Sampradaya. They had great respect for him. So he had great respect for Rupa and Sanatan. And he learned from his association with Rupa and Sanatan that their younger nephew, Jiva, was a vastly learned scholar. So he gave an unpublished manuscript, Tattvadipa, to Jiva Goswami to review and see if he found some editing suggestions. And according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur's history, he found many. And there were specifically, compromised depictions of the absolute truth as impersonal as opposed to personal. And probably something subtle, but something significant enough that Vallabhacharya rewrote his manuscript, major parts of his manuscript, just based upon the younger generation Jiva Goswami's skill. And there was another person, not Vallabhacharya of the Vishnu Swami Sampradaya, but this another Ballabha who was a scholar, a traveling kind of scholar. And he came to, when he came, because Vrindavan is a place of pilgrimage for many Vaishnavas from many different backgrounds. So he's not from our Sampradaya, but he came to visit Vrindavan. And when he came to visit Vrindavan, he heard about the fame of Rupa Goswami. So he went to meet Rupa Goswami. And Rupa Goswami, although he's super elevated personality, he treated Ballabha with great respect. So much respect that he asked Ballabha, I'm in the midst of writing Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which we know as Nectar Devotion. Would you examine it? And if you see some improvement that's needed, you can make a suggestion and I'll consider. So he was honored and he agreed. And from time to time they would meet and they would discuss the topics of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And one time, when having some discussion, Jiva Goswami happened to be there. He said, the language that you used in this one verse, where you described bhukti and mukti to be like a witch, it's a little strong language. Pishachi is the Sanskrit word. So here's the verse. It's directly from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Mukti mukti spriha. Spriha means a desire for bhukti and mukti. Yavat. Pishachi vidhi vartate. Tavat. So yavat tavat. So, so this, so that. Tavat bhakti sukhas yatra katam abhulya bhavet. Here's the translation. The material desire to enjoy the material world and the desire to become liberated from material bondage are considered to be two witches. Pishachi means witch. Remain within the heart. How can one feel transcendental bliss? As long as these two witches remain in the heart, there's no possibility of enjoying transcendental bliss of devotional service. So Ballabha said, I think the word is very strong, because I can understand how you might use that word in connection with bhukti or sense enjoyment, but mukti is always revered. So you might want to consider having a different word. And Rupa Goswami's reply was, let me consider what your suggestion is. It wasn't a yes or no, it was, let me consider. So in the course of going to the river Jamuna, Jiva Goswami accompanied him. And in the course of accompanying him to the river Jamuna, Jiva Goswami thrashed him with spiritual teaching, saying, you didn't listen carefully. He said, spriha, the aspiration or the desire for mukti isn't being deprecated. The desire for mukti is being deprecated. Because the desire for, so it's a long discussion, but the desire for something that's where I'm at the center, that's a problem. The desire for that which I am at the center, for spiritual, for bhakti, rasa, that's a problem. It blocks bhakti. Liberation is fine. The desire to get to a better position for myself, whether it's material or liberation, it's an obstacle for bhakti. And so forth and so on. And on the way back, he was acknowledging, what you said is correct. So when he got back, he informed Rupa Goswami, your nephew here, he's very scholarly, he's very gifted. He explained what this word spriha, and with such clarity that I think it's a good word, because it's a witch that you're being haunted by, if that's in the heart. And Rupa Goswami acknowledged his words, And then when he was gone, he told Jiva, this isn't good. I asked him for some service. He offered some service and you're correcting him. You're junior, he's senior. This is disrespectful. Disrespect has no place in Vrindavan. You should leave Vrindavan. Just like that. And ordered by his spiritual master to leave Vrindavan, he left Vrindavan. It's described that there's a place along the river Jamuna where the borderline of Vrindavan then becomes Mathura, like the capital. So he found a place by the side of the river Jamuna that previously had been a hole for a crocodile, and he made that his residence. A crocodile hole. And because he was living in a crocodile hole, he was just eating mud for his sustenance. Jamuna mud. And as some time passed, and Sanatana Goswami was curious, where did Jiva Goswami go? And, because he heard what happened. So he began inquiring, and he found from some people that lived in the area, there's this sadhu that lives in this crocodile cave. So maybe that's your nephew. So he went, and he was emaciated and greatly distressed because he had wanted to defend the honor. His principle was not uppity principle, it was respecting the honor and dignity of his guru. It wasn't to defeat somebody by his scholarship, it was to establish the honor and the respectability of his guru. That was his intention, which was accomplished. And so Sanatana Goswami told Jiva Goswami, his nephew, come with me. So he went back to Vrindavan. And he had him, you stay at a distance. It's a nice conversation. My dear brother Rupa, I have a question for you. What's that? Can you please identify the greatest virtue of a Vaishnava? And the greatest virtue, he said, is compassion, Jivadaya. Here's one Jiva. Show your daya to this one Jiva and accept him back. It explained everything, and he accepted him back. Because he understood why he did what he did. So the place where this crocodile or alligator hole or cave was is near Nandagat. It's in Mathura. And these are just some little snippets about the relationship with Jiva Goswami and Rupa Goswami, but also his super scholarship. Sometime after that, there was a visiting. It was one of the things that scholars did during that period of time, all over India. Some scholar would go on a tour through holy places, find out who's the most intelligent, gifted scholar, and arrange a public debate on the topic that this other scholar could choose. They're like, your strongest ground, you choose the topic, we'll have a debate. And the principle was, whoever would lose the debate would become the disciple of the one who would win the debate. So this way he would get many followers, whoever was like the best arguer or debater. So he came to Jiva Goswami, he went to Rupa Goswami and said, I heard you're a super scholar. I'd like to engage in debate with you. And Rupa Goswami had no interest in debate. He said, you're too brilliant. I'll accept defeat even without a debate. He said, very good. Sign. You've been defeated. So he signed. Sanatana Goswami similarly Not interested in debate, thank you. So they both signed. So Rupa Narayana is the name of the fellow. The Digvijay. Digvijay means he would travel and have debates. They heard while he was in Vrindavan about Jiva. And when he heard about Jiva, he went to Jiva and said, see, your two uncles have signed, so you accept too, please, sign. I'll debate you. So big formal, because it was, it was something of like, in modern times, it's sports. This team and that team, or whatever it is, whatever it is, a solo or team sport or something. Big shebang, big to do about a sporting event. So 7-day long debate, and Rupa Narayan was defeated, and he accepted defeat. Doesn't give the details of the back and forth. Again, this is from Bhakti Ratnakar, so a historical record of his defeating very, very powerful scholar. So whether it was in debate or in conversation or the head of the Vishnu Swami Sampradaya at the time, the head of the Vishnu Swami Sampradaya, one of the 4 major Sampradayas, accepted that Jiva Goswami was a very gifted scholar, and he was. In course of time, two very important things, besides the books that he wrote, he was the next in line in disciplic succession, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Rupa and Sanatan, and then what? So then what was Jiva Goswami was the next in line in disciplic succession. And then what? So what he did is he engaged 3 persons as directly and thoroughly and assiduously instructed them in all the teachings he heard from Rupa Goswami and what he had learned otherwise also from the study of the Bhagavatam, etc., etc. So those three became the next in line of disciplic succession. Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivasacharya, and Shyamananda Pandit, by name, those are the 3. They lived with him at the Radha Damodar temple. They heard from him, they studied under him, and then after some time, Nityananda's wife, Janava Devi, was still alive and he had left this world. So Janava requested Jiva Goswami to send these 3 persons along with bullock carts, plural, loaded with the writings of the Goswamis, to go to the eastern part of India, because it started in Puri, it developed and matured in Vrindavan, but the eastern side of India, Bengal and Orissa and other places, it wasn't well developed. So she requested, because her home was in Kardaha on the eastern side, because that was the home of Chaitanya, of Lord Nityananda. So, in Ekachakra. So, they did that. This is a photograph of his handwriting, the original handwriting, that they preserved it by some chemical or however they preserved very, very, very old manuscripts. That's his original handwriting. The Vrindavan Research Institute now has his writings, his original writings, before they became published. There's a history, 1945 or something like that. They were being kept at the Radha Damodar temple, but there was a flood. And so the Radha Damodar temple understood this isn't a safe place for this treasure. So they transferred it to the Vrindavan Research Institute because they had the means to take care. So here's a nice painting, Jiva Goswami at the Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan, and there he's giving classes to students. Here's a list of his 25 books. These are not just commentaries, but his original writings. One of those, the first on the list, was a very interesting book. It was a book on how to learn grammar in Sanskrit. Vyakarana is Sanskrit grammar. So Hari Nama Amrita Vyakarana, to learn grammar through the agency of names of Hari. Because he studied under Madhusudana Vachaspati to learn Sanskrit, but then he did a Sanskrit grammar book that's just on all the rules and recitation and so forth. Then Gopal Champu, both the early pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan, Purva, Gopal Champu, and the later pastimes of Krishna outside of Vrindavan. Then here's the Krama Sandarbha is like what Prabhupada did, verse by verse for the 18,000 Srimad Bhagavatam verses in one book, known as Krama Sandarbha. And then there's the Tattva Sandarbha, there's the other 6. Bhagavat Sandarbha, Paramatma Sandarbha, Krishna Sandarbha, etc. Along with Sarva Samvadani commentary, which is a very brilliant, insightful, masterful, very specific, very articulate commentary on topics that went into Tattva Sandarbha, even before he wrote Tattva Sandarbha. So there's 9 of his 25. How the worship of Radha and Krishna are meant to go together, that's this next one. Krishna Archana, Radha, Krishna Archana Deepika. Deepika is lamp illuminating, light illuminating Radha Krishna worship. Madhava Mahotsava, this is very nice. Madhava Mahotsava is a very interesting book. Madhava Mahotsava is Radharani becoming crowned the queen of Vrindavan. And there's a lot of very beautiful exchange of Radharani becoming angry at Krishna, and Krishna, her man, are becoming angry, and she went away. And Krishna was beside himself with anxiety. He went to Purnamasi, help. Purnamasi found Radharani, and then with many, many details. So there was a big festival, Maha Utsava, big festival, where Radharani was crowned the queen of Vrindavan. Krishna was there. But the book is called Madhava Mahotsava, although it's coronating Radha as the queen. It's and why it is like that is within the book. Gopal Tampani, that's an Upanishad. He wrote a commentary on that. He wrote a commentary on Brahma Samhita, and that's the Rasamrita, the commentary on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, commentary on Ujjvala Nidhamani, and so many other nice books. Over 400,000 verses. Something that happened to Rupa Goswami was in a dream. He was very, very anxious to find Govindaji. In a dream, Govindaji appeared and told him where he was. Govindaji had been buried up on a mound to hide him from Mughal invasions. And in that dream, Rupa Goswami's Govindaji appeared to Jiva Goswami, because that deity had been found and was being worshipped. And then, in Jiva Goswami's dream, the deity of Damodar appeared. And the deity of Damodar instructed Rupa Goswami to carve a deity for his disciple, Jiva Goswami, for him to worship with exact features depicted in the dream. Because he, Krishna, his Govindaji deity, wanted to be worshipped by Jiva Goswami in the form of Damodar. Pretty esoteric. And so sure enough, Rupa Goswami had never carved a deity before. He carved, we'll see photographs of the deity that he hand carved for his disciple, and composed the following pranam mantra for the deity. Here's the pranam mantra. O Lord Damodar, whose dark bodily luster embarrasses the blue lotus flowers, the splendor of whose silken garment stuns the glory of yellow kumkum, who enjoys transcendental pastimes in Vrindavan forest, whose chest is fragrant with a brilliant flower garland, and whose magnificent arm rests on Radha's shoulder. Let us meditate. So it's from a series of prayers, Stavamala, and here's the carving of the deity. The marble for the carving of the deity came from Mount Parvat, from the Vindhya hills. And there's the deity, hand carved by him, very small deity, 8 inches tall. And then by his side, by Damodar's side, is Radha. So there's Radha Damodar. And later, after some time, the Radha Damodar deity was taken from Vrindavan to Jaipur and for safety. And here's the deity that's now being worshipped in this place in Vrindavan. This is a close-up of a similar deity, Radha Shamasundara, the place where the Radha Damodar temple was constructed, the place of residence that Rupa Goswami had given to Jiva Goswami was in an area called Sevakunj. Most of it is now well developed and packed with buildings, but some section of Sevakunj still remains. This is a photograph of Sevakunj. It gives you an idea what it looked like at that time. And it's one of the celebrated places of Radha and Krishna's Rasa Leela places. In 1558, Jiva Goswami purchased this Sevakunj area, stretching for Imlital. Those of you who have been in Vrindavan, you know where Imlital is. It's down by the river. And a big, big, big area, Imlital, and Rasa Stali, where the Rasa dance was performed, Dan Guli and Shingar Stali. 4 trees marked off. And the person who owned the property before was Emperor Akbar, and it was purchased for 35 rupees. Akbar was generous. It was just, in other words, a formality only, because he, Emperor Akbar, loved Jiva Goswami. We'll see as we go along. The exchange between the deity and Jiva Goswami is very, very amazing. Sometimes when Jiva Goswami would personally cook for the deity, he'd sit there, and while the offering was being made, he watched the deity eat what was on the plate. Sometimes, while reciting prayers, Damodar would dance. Sometimes he heard Damodar playing his flute, and he fainted. And then Jiva Goswami composed prayers in honor of that loving dealing between him and Damodar. Remember, Damodar wanted to be worshipped by Jiva Goswami, asked Rupa Goswami carve him. So this is his prayer. O Hari, all glories to your childhood pastimes, which you enjoy with Balaram. You give happiness to Mother Yashoda with your crawling. And the sight of you blesses the eyes of every last person in Vrindavan. O child, the eager movements of your feet stirs your anklets to make tinkling sounds that delight the heart of all. O Krishna, even when you meet strangers, you share your bliss with them, and then quickly crawl back onto the safety of your mother's lap. So these are from this Purva Champu, and he wrote them in honor of his deity in their personal exchange. And then it made its way into one of his books, Gopal Champu. Now, on the altar at the Radha Damodar temple, there are a number of deities. At the Radha Damodar temple today, the central deity that you see here, this is the Radha Vrindavan Chandra deity of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. And later they were, as we were told, they were taken for safety's sake to Jaipur. So they're being worshipped in Jaipur. There's a close-up of the deity of both Radha and Vrindavan Chandra. There's a close-up of Vrindavan Chandra. After Emperor Akbar departed, there was a very wicked king. The wicked king was Aurangzeb. But during the time of Jiva Goswami, the very benevolent king, his name was Akbar. So Akbar wanted Jiva Goswami to attend his palace for a function, for taking part in a debate. Jiva Goswami agreed, as long as, because he didn't want to leave Vrindavan. And where Akbar had his palace was outside of Vrindavan. So he said, I can go, but you have to get me back in Vrindavan before the nightfall. And so a royal carriage was arranged. It didn't have nice roads like today. And even today the roads aren't so nice. But royal carriage, and he got back before nightfall. So the topic for just the debate was, which is greater, the Ganga or the Jamuna? And in various ways, Jiva Goswami explained the superiority of River Jamuna. And the end of the debate, the Emperor Akbar gave him a gift before he went back to Vrindavan, writing paper from China, which is at that time was like super rare. And so remember, he gave him this big tract of land for 35 rupees. Now he's giving him writing paper from China because he writes many books. And it is said, not verified, but he asked the king, and the king arranged because when he was in Benares, he studied the Puranas under Madhusudan of Vachaspati. So he asked for copies. So he had a library. And the library was filled with the Puranas from Benares. Akbar also donated funds to help him establish a library, not only of his books, but the Goswami books. Akbar was like a benefactor, a very loving and very capable personality. So Jiva Goswami felt very indebted to him. So in Urdu, because that was the language of Akbar, he placed a sign in the library dedicating the library to Emperor Akbar. Maharaj Akbar is a good and Vaishnava ruler, although he was Muslim. You saw the paintings with japa beads. And in his kingdom, the Vaishnavas are protected. it is said, as I mentioned, 1945, all of the library and his own handwriting and everything was transferred to the Vrindavan Research Institute. The Vrindavan Research Institute is very proximate to Krishna Balaram Mandir. At that time, and the time when Prabhupada bought the land, Krishna Balaram Mandir was like out in the boondocks. It's out, far away from anything. But so was the Vrindavan Research Institute. And then it became a residential place for all of his library, a vast library. In the 34th year of Akbar's rule, Akbar's commander and chief minister, Raj Man Singh, he, the minister, built a temple, the Govindaji temple. And the Govindaji temple was 7 stories tall. He donated all the funds to cover the expense and the land. And the Madan Mohan temple. Now, after him, after Akbar, there was Aurangzeb. And Aurangzeb was traveling along the main road and when he saw this big light on top of a temple, he couldn't stand it. So he decided to go and smash the temple and smash the deities. That's why the deities were taken, because Akbar and Aurangzeb were opposite ends of the spectrum. Engraved in stone on the right quadrant of the main temple hall, the Jiva Goswami's Govinda Astakam, where he blesses the emperor in this way. You see that here's the writing. It's what's outlined in red. That's our work. It's not what's on the stone. When Akbar used to easily and peacefully rule the whole earth well, then all the gentlemen experienced happiness while following their respective religions freely and knowing the abode of Lord Govinda's place, Vrindavan, to be the abode of the best. Vaishnavas repeatedly blessed him. So his successor had a different disposition altogether. Emperor Akbar gifted a very large diamond on Gopal. Gopal is now Srinathji, who the followers of Vishnu Swami Sampradaya worship. And you notice that the mark on his chin, that's the big, large diamond. So here's a painting depicting the diamond and remains to this day. So this different painting showing the nice diamond given by Akbar. What happened here? So I mentioned this. After some time, Jiva Goswami had trained the 3 followers, and they were given this bullock cart or bullock carts with the writings of all the Goswamis for the benefit of the eastern part of India. And Jiva Goswami sent his 3 principal students to give the teachings. So the books and the teachings of the Goswamis, the original traveling Sankirtan party, book distribution party. A contemporary of Jiva Goswami was Mirabai. She had requested the meeting with the celebrated Jiva Goswami. He met with her, of course, in an appropriate manner, but she had great respect for him and he had great respect for her. When it came time for the excavation of Radhakund, because what his uncles had done was establish places, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had found where Radhakund was, but there wasn't a Radhakund that we know today. So one gifted person, this is the person that gifted the gift, Rajman Singh, he made a donation to pay for the excavation of Radhakund. Now the donation was given to Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami was about the same age as Jiva Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami wasn't, his gift wasn't establishing places. His gift was being completely dedicated to Govardhan and Srimati Radharani. He wrote some books. So he requested Jiva Goswami to oversee the construction that Raj Man Singh donated the money for. So this is an old photograph of what was there sometime years ago. And the first 8 steps on all sides of Radhakund were specifically arranged for Rajman. He personally oversaw the building of those first 8 steps. So it goes down, 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 down. Periodically they pump all the water out, clean all the mud from the bottom, and then they have the mud from the bottom, they make tilak, Radhakund tilak. And some people like Radhakund tilak. We had a little discussion about Radhakund tilak. We're nearing an end. He didn't have a computer, didn't have technology, didn't have a dictaphone, microphone, recording system. He just had a perfect memory. So when he would compose things, he would compose it in his mind. And then after some time, he didn't have to edit it, he just wrote it down. It was perfect first time around. Later, Rupa Goswami personally gifted his writings to Jiva Goswami to preserve them. So he had copies made. And that's part of what this big library is. But one of the places when you visit Vrindavan, may you all someday visit Vrindavan if you haven't already, one of the places you'll visit is the Madan Mohan temple of Sanatana Goswami. And in the back courtyard below the temple, Sanatana Goswami's samadhi is there. And way over in the corner is a Grantha Samadhi. What that means is, of the books that Rupa Goswami wrote, some of them were too esoteric, too elevated for people. So he put them in Samadhi, and there they rest permanently. So we'll never know what's in those books because they're in Samadhi. And he requested Jiva to write commentaries on all of what Rupa Goswami wrote. So everything that Rupa Goswami wrote has Jiva Goswami's commentary. And it was Jiva Goswami who placed Rupa Goswami's body in Samadhi at the Radha Damodar temple. So it's still there, the Samadhi in the Bhajan Kutir. Here's the Samadhi of Jiva Goswami, who lived for 65 of his 85 years in Vrindavan. And inside, that's the sitting place, or the resting place. And they had a picture. Now they have a murti that looks like this. And if you look closely, you see some cloth that's in front of him. You see right in front of him, there's his japa beads. Here's his japa beads. And here's the outside of the temple. And in the back of the outside of the temple was a place where the 6 Goswamis would come and have discussions and make strategies and how to disseminate Lord Chaitanya's message and discuss Krishna Katha together. Here's the altar. Now some of you have seen this morning in the Radha Damodar temple is a photograph of the deities. You saw? Anyone not see? Anyone not see? You all saw. You didn't see? So you're not on the WhatsApp list, huh? Anyone that's on the WhatsApp list should have received. There's 2 photos. One photo is what you see here is it's the main altar at the Radha Damodar temple. In the front, you see a little. It's a where Krishna put his foot on a Govardhan Shila, so Sanatana Goswami wouldn't have to circumambulate Govardhan. He could just circumambulate the Shila where he put his foot. And it's now at the Radha Damodar temple. Many, many, many devotees recognize Jiva Goswami's competence, and so as a result, they placed their deities here. You saw before Radha Vrindavan Chandra. Radha Vrindavan Chandra. So in sequence, Radha Damodar and Jiva Goswami will be the Saki, small deities on the left. Jayadev Goswami's Radha Madhava. Bhugarva Goswami's Radha Chalchikaniya. Here's another of the same. It's less complicated, but easier to see. So here's a close-up of the central deity on the altar. And here's Chandan Yatra, where they're decorated with Chandan, of course. And he, Jiva Goswami, had a place outside of Vrindavan, outside of Vrindavan town, at the Radha Kund area. So previously, this is the Radha Damodar plus Vilas Manjari Gopi, who's right by the side of Radha Damodar. You see the arrow, so you know what's going on. And finally, a 19th century poet wrote the following prayer to Jiva Goswami. To the peerless lotus feet of Srila Jiva Goswami offer constant obeisances. He is a desire-fulfilling tree who possesses a mind full of compassion and is a true friend of fallen and distressed, always considering himself to be a bee-like servant at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Goswami and Sri Sanatana Goswami. He contributed many conclusions in his books to spread the glories and the fame of Lord Krishna far and wide. And going back in time, Baladev Vidyabhusan, who resided in Vrindavan for many years as a student of Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur, wrote, by the mighty spade of his nectarian words, Jiva Goswami tossed aside the dirt of the fallacious Sankhya arguments and recovered Krishna's splendor from the pit of Vivartavad. May he be our refuge. Full respect. This is the last slide. Now this is taken from, I mentioned this book now for the third time, Bhakti Ratnakar. And Narayana Bhatta Goswami was a near contemporary of the six Goswamis. His gift, he wasn't from our sampradaya, but his gift was assisting Rupa and establishing places of Krishna's pastime. So he wrote a book on it, the places of Krishna's pastimes. I offer my repeated humble obeisances unto Srila Jiva Goswami, whose heart is constantly attracted to the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami. He is the crest jewel of all Brijvasis, and due to his causeless mercy, he bestows unimaginable joy to even non-philosophical, dull-headed, and lazy people by his deep philosophical views. Now his writings are very elevated. So people that are dull-headed and lazy, I don't know how they're going to be attracted to Jiva Goswami's writings. Very lofty. But at the same time, very sweet. And so the attraction is the sweetness and not so much necessarily the loftiness. And the commentary, the commentary of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur that the BBT has published on Brahma Samhita follows Jiva Goswami's commentary on Brahma Samhita. So he's a very important, very, very important person in our sampradaya. Very important person in our sampradaya, and we're honoring his disappearance day. I'll just say this personally, he's one of my heroes. A hero from like that. That's how the language that I used when I was in college. He's one of my heroes because such a luminary. I mean, to understand everything that he has written to understand some of what he's written is a challenge. But it's good to be challenged, and it's good to stretch a little bit when challenged, and light comes through. And one feels that light, one feels lifted by the power of his writing. Very profound, very insightful, very precise, very scripturally authoritative. A great personality for our sampradaya. So let's see if there's some discussion. We'll go back to where we began. Jiva Goswami ki jai. Looks like a good number of people came despite the weather, huh? I beg your pardon? Yeah, you sure?
The first one is a comment. It was very instructive to hear that only due to Sanatana Goswami advocating for Jiva Goswami did Rupa Goswami reinstated him. This demonstrates how we are totally dependent on the mercy of Vaishnavas. The question is, Maharaj, Jiva Goswami's intention was different than the impact it had. Was there any element in this incident of Jiva Goswami addressing himself to the Vaishnava he might have inadvertently offended?
What's the lesson? Well, I'll just share something. There's a group of people that criticize Jiva Goswami. And there's a group of people that just the opposite. They honor Jiva Goswami. But the group of people that criticize him say, just see, even his guru said he was proud. Yes, he was vastly learned, but one who is vastly learned can also be vastly proud. And he is vastly proud, and here's verification. Rupa Goswami said so. And na kind of disposition. And the other side is, I'm not sure what she's asking, but the other side is his intention was appropriate. When one's guru is spoken ill of, supposing someone said something about Prabhupada and it was offensive or an explicit misunderstanding, you can be silent, that's an option, or you can speak up. If you have the capacity to speak up and give a compelling explanation so the other person can understand they were mistaken in understanding Prabhupada, then you should do that. And that's what Jiva Goswami, because he had the power and the knowledge and the capacity, so he did that for the purpose of upholding the honor of his Diksha Guru. So he did the right thing. Now, why did Rupa Goswami do what Rupa Goswami did? If he did the right thing, because he certainly knows his mentality. Does he really think that he was proud? Because if he thinks he's proud, that he's not going to accept him as a disciple. Then, so further purification can come. It's certainly within the right and even the duty of a spiritual master to sometimes speak something that's strong, to help the disciple sit straight and, conduct themselves in a proper way. So it's certainly appropriate for Rupa Goswami to do what Rupa Goswami did. It's certainly appropriate for Jiva Goswami to do what Jiva Goswami did. And it's certainly appropriate for Sanatana Goswami to do what Sanatana Goswami did. They're all pure Vaishnavas. So the lesson is, even in association of pure Vaishnavas, sometimes there's, you could say misunderstanding, but sometimes there's strong words spoken. But when those strong words are spoken, it's spoken with the idea of elevation, not with the idea of condemnation. So I'm not sure exactly what her question is, but I think I got what her question is. If she has further questions, she can send it to you. And in the room, any comments or questions? Yeah. Too many buttons. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Maybe you can speak just without one, huh?
What I heard in by Nectar of Instruction came out, because when Jiva Goswami went back, then Srila Rupa Goswami thought that probably there is a need to write those instructions on how somebody who comes to Vrindavan, they should follow those, and that formed the basis of what we read as Nectar of Instruction. That is a comment that was a very important instance for all of us, generations and generations to come. That was and you brought it out so nicely. Thank you, Maharaj.
What was the source that you heard this history from?
Hari Parshad Prabhu was talking in one of
good
this.
enough. The reason I'm asking is, it's sometimes, I heard in a class, somebody said, da-da-da-da-da. So when I hear that, I go, what's the source? Yes, he gave a very exhaustive presentation on Upadeshamritam. I didn't catch, I listened to much of that seminar. I didn't catch that one. That's nice. In the beginning?
After the
Further on. Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, anybody else? Without a microphone? Go ahead, go for it. Without a microphone, go for it.
Maharaj, this is about the contemporaries, like Vallabha Acharya, you mentioned, he was a contemporary of Goswami. And he also shared a slide where Mirabai was interested in taking association with Shri Jiva Goswami. So was Mirabai as a follower, or she is from a different sampradaya?
A different sampradaya. But that's okay. There's respect.
Yeah.
not Sampradaya only. My group and your group can go take a hike. That's not the Goswamis.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Behind you.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. It's very, I don't know what's the word, but hearing these descriptions, in general, we hear Jiva Goswami is extremely intelligent in his writings and his deep understanding. On the other hand, we see in those prayers how his sweetness and it's kind of, I mean, not exactly contradictory qualities, but it's just so beautiful.
It's diverse.
Yeah.
I mean, Madhava Mahotsav is just a story. It's not philosophy. And it's so sweet. And he captures, you hardly believe he's the one that wrote it because of how intense and incisive and directive he is in his writings in general. But, the sweetness is there also. And just this was minus, that other mood that he has in his writing, the analytical aspect of his intellect. Very sweet. Very sweet.
Yes, I was just appreciating, I mean, in my little capacity, my mind wants to put them in these boxes. Okay, this Acharya is intelligent and intellectual. This Acharya is sweet, but these are amazing souls. Just appreciating that, Guru Maharaj. I just wanted to hear from you about this when Jiva Goswami met Lord Nityananda, and Jiva Goswami wanted to go to Puri to see Mahaprabhu, and he was physically present, but he was instructed instead to go to Benares, not even to hear devotion and Krishna Katha. It's like quote unquote material knowledge or material science. And at the same time, like while he is there, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left this world. If we see from a different light, it's kind of, I was thinking it's hard. He could have gone, taken darshan of Chaitanya and then came. Of course, we cannot understand.
Mahaprabhu had his purposes. Mahaprabhu gave an instruction to Gopal, when your parents give permission, you go to Vrindavan. When Gopal went to Vrindavan, he didn't stop in Puri. It's kind of like on the way, but he didn't go. He followed the instruction because that's the faithfulness of these exalted personalities. There's a mission, he fulfilled the mission in the way that was asked of him. That's their character. It's part of their glory. Something else? Okay. Are people on the steps? The balcony seats? You're good. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Jiva Goswami ki, Gaur Premanand.